Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Neil Edwards from Nestle Turkey.
Super, thanks. Merhaba. Günaydın. Hoş geldiniz. That's it. I don't do anymore. I am a very fortunate man. Lucky not because I live in this magnificent city of Istanbul, or because I'm lucky enough to be speaking to you today. I'm fortunate because I have these two delightful young ladies as my children. Now, I'm not sure that they would necessarily consider themselves fortunate to have me as their dad, because I'm very clear that I am their dad, I'm not their friend. And what that means is I try and help them by two rules. The first rule is that I try to teach them and recognize right from wrong. And the second thing is I try to help them make smart decisions. And I'm hoping that for the rest of their life, in this 2020 generation, that's going to work. But we'll see. So I was talking to my eldest daughter, Sophie, recently, and I was asking her, as you do, what's happening at school? I got a typical 11-year-old answer. Nothing. It's so boring. And I said, well, just tell me a little bit more about, and she said to me, we're learning about values and ethics, but I didn't really get it. So I thought, here's an opportunity for me to be a good dad. And I said, imagine, Sophie, you and me, we're going shopping. Imagine we go to a store and we buy something. And I pay, because you haven't got any money, and I give the money and we have an agreed price. And I get the change from the assistant in the shop, but that assistant gives me too much change. So I've got more money than I should have. I said, that is an ethical dilemma. What should I do? Should I keep the money? Or should I give it to your mother? Now, the men in the room will know the correct answer to that dilemma. The women in the room will also know the correct answer to that dilemma. It's just a different answer. So, I was looking at all the companies that are represented here today, and I could have I made a guess that probably most of us have some sort of values and ethics statement. So I sort of start to ask myself why. And it's mainly to manage the expectations of our stakeholders, whoever they are. For Nestle, these are some of those. We talk about our local communities, our employees, our consumers, of course, our customers, non-government organizations. And in all of those cases, what we're trying to do is create an expectation of sustainability, of reliability, and above all, of trust. And I thought some more about that, and I thought, well, let's see what Google has to say. So I put in values statement in Google, and you get over 300 million hits when you do that. So I have a couple for us to look at. The first one, we work with customers and prospects openly, honestly, and sincerely. Well, it's not bad. The second one, in all conceivable instances, we put the interests of our clients first. The interests of our clients is our primary concern. So I thought, well, they're pretty good. They sort of tell me what we're supposed to do. The problem is that the first one is from Enron. I hope you know who Enron was, because they're not around anymore. And the second one is from Lehman Brothers. You pretty well should know who Lehman Brothers are. So if they are so patently useless at driving values, why do we have them? So I thought the first thing we should look at is why they fail. And it's mainly for three reasons. The first one is they're too simple. There's no computer yet that has been invented that can accurately mirror human behavior, with all the complexity of our rationality, our emotionality, and and our instinctive characteristics. Second one is legalistic. Now, have we got any lawyers in today? No one who's going to admit to being a lawyer. Probably wise. But I have to congratulate lawyers. They've done a great job over the century of creating and finding ways to evade the rules that govern all our lives. And I've never yet met a poor lawyer. What a fantastic industry. But as far as values and ethics are concerned, I think it's not the right way. The third and most important is about the extent to which they're embedded. In every one of our organizations, in every group that we work, there's a culture. You can't avoid the culture in the same way that in Turkey, you can't avoid not having a football team. It somehow just doesn't work. So the real reason that most of them fail is because what we really do, the way we really behave, and what leaders really value is not what's written down in the words. It's somehow communicated in a different way in what we do. So I thought I'd say a word or two about Nestlé. You may know Nestlé was a company founded 147 years ago in Switzerland by a guy called Henri Nestlé, who was a chemist, and he invented an infant formula. And he invented that to save the lives of some children, some infants, whose mothers couldn't breastfeed. And from there, the company has grown to the enormous organization it is today, with 330,000 employees all around the world. And we sell 1 billion things a day. So that's 1 billion opportunities to create trust or break trust. The organization today has 8,000 different brands. Here's just some of them. You may recognize them from Turkey. But they have very different characteristics. For example, take Nespresso at the top right. Nespresso is a very super premium coffee system that connects with its customers mainly through the internet or through the network of boutiques. You might have seen one in the Chanticleer here. Most of our brands are sold through the retail channels of one sort or another. And some of our brands are never bought, like Purina or SMA, are never bought by the consumer. Cats and dogs don't go shopping. So what is it that holds all these different companies together? How do you make a super premium coffee business somehow stay connected with a waters business? And the answer is a very, very strong and embedded set of principles and values that go through the entire organization. Now, we've done a lot of work to try and communicate those values about what they are, but we spend much more time trying to embed them emotionally. And I have a very short video just to demonstrate that. CEO. So there's three key messages that we're trying to get across with that. It's just an internal video. The first is the "we make Nestlé" thing. That's all about saying that the culture and the values of the organization are about us as individuals and our behavior. It's not something that's somehow created by some greater being. The second is about trust. It's right at the end you saw the word trust. That's our most effective and powerful competitive advantage. And sometimes it can be a challenge, because sometimes having very high standards on everything that we do can be, in a short term, a competitive challenge. But building trust over the long term is the thing that will differentiate us. So we see that as the long-term competitive advantage. And finally, it's pride. It's about the emotion. What we're trying to appeal to is something in here that makes people feel good about working for us and creating a great place to work. Okay, so the values have not really changed, frankly, for a long time. But what's changed in the digital world? In a word, it's speed. And I have a few stats. You probably can't read all the charts, but the charts all look the same, right? They all go up as we go. Mobile data traffic has doubled this year, and it's going to increase sevenfold over the next 3 or 4 years. 25% of Americans only access the internet through a mobile device. No matter what time of day it's sent, the average response time for an email is 90 minutes. No matter what time it's sent, the average response time for an SMS is 90 seconds. 500 million photographs are uploaded every day, and 250 billion emails are sent every day. All of that means that we need to respond differently, and there's no secrets anymore. If you're in government, Edward Snowden sorted that, but if you're in a corporation, it's no different. There are no secrets. So that means we need to be better at explaining what we do, better at demonstrating how we do it, and proactive in doing it. So what that means is, for example, we have much closer relationships with the NGOs, with non-government organizations. Here's just an example of some of the organizations we work with. If you take FTSE for Good at the top left, for example, Nestlé is the only infant formula company in the world that's listed on the FTSE for Good index. We're the leading food products company in the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and this year we retained the top spot in the Oxfam Sustainability Scorecard. Now, these are all things that have been developed over time, and they help set standards against which we can measure ourselves, but also, and just as importantly, they create pride in our employees in things that are really going to make a difference. When you think about our leadership, the new environment, the digital environment, means something quite different. We're coming, like most organizations, from a hierarchical organization, and that was okay. It created some control. The problem with the hierarchy is it also creates silos, and silos reduce transparency, and we can't afford to have a lack of transparency. They also create loyalty. Our problem is they create loyalty, arguably, to the wrong things. They certainly create loyalty within the hierarchy, but not necessarily to the wider organization and the values you need. So we need to create a different kind of inspirational leadership that creates trust, that creates empowerment and engagement. And that means coaching. So in every single one of our leadership development initiatives that we do, coaching is at the core. So, in summary, for Nestlé, the 5 things that we have are these. First, we're principles-based. There is no rule book. We have a set of values which are very well understood, completely embedded in what we do every day. Second, it's about creating pride. Pride through understanding that it affects me and the decisions I take. Third, genuine engagement with stakeholders, the people that help us set the standards and against which we measure ourselves. Fourth, every single employee has access to a hotline where they can report any potential breach. And 5, we're relentless. It never stops. Now, I said at the beginning that I try and teach my children 2 things. One, to recognize right from wrong, and 2, make smart decisions. And getting the right values in your culture embedded is similar. It's about helping your organization, the people in it, recognize what's right, what's okay, and what's not okay, and creating the environment for them to be able to make the right decisions, which are sometimes very courageous decisions, no matter what. If you get that right, you can end up with a rounded, well-balanced, and high-value organization. If you get it wrong, and you don't know when, but you may end up with a catastrophe. Teşekkür ederim. İyi günler.